Hey guys, what's going on? Chris here, the CEO of Data Engineer Academy. I wanted to introduce what I think are super valuable calls. They're called AMAs, they're called Ask Me Anythings. And so to give you guys context, when we talk to prospects and we realize like, hey, you guys are actually a good fit, we qualify them and get them into the later part of the process, which is us basically saying, hey, we think we can help you. We think we would be good fit. We would want to go on this journey with you. And just to give you guys context, we disqualify probably about 70% of people at this point, which means that for every 100 people that come on, we tell 70% of people, this is probably not for you. What I do is I host a weekly Ask Me Anything session where I basically try to answer any of your questions. And so what you're about to see is a Ask Me Anything session. If you have any questions, please write in the comment below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the Ask Me Anything session. Cheers.
Okay, let's jump in. Rich, how can I help you, my friend? What questions do you have? And then for everybody else, keep putting a one in the chat so we know which order you can ask your question. But yeah, go ahead and jump in, Rich. We got 45 minutes. I want to get to everybody. How can I help?
Yeah, Chris, thanks for your time. I appreciate the CEO of a company coming to the forefront with potential clients. Um, Listen, I met with Nathan last night. He knows my story. I've been in IT for 37 years or so. I don't want to move on and have a learning curve with another career, but I'm finding myself at a juncture between been performing project management and hands-on IT for the past 15 years, and I'm just looking to see if I'll be a good fit for what you guys do, and just get out there and get paid what I'm worth. That's really what it comes down to. Over the past many years, I've been struggling to make what I'm worth based upon the value that I provide and the hours that I work and the results that I've been giving for many, many years now. So, he told me you're the guy that's figured this all out. You've cracked the code on how to negotiate, how to get what people are worth. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that and go from there. So again, thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just to be clear, what is the position that you want? Do you have that in mind?
Yeah, I think where Nathan and I had referenced it would be go to TPM, I guess the technical project manager.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and it sounds like you have a ton of experience there. And you are, is it TPM? Because there's like different kinds of TPM, right? You can kind of lead a software engineering team, a data team, right? Is there one specific, or you just kind of tech and
Yeah,
engineering?
as of recent, over the past 2 years, and including right now, I'm working for another enterprise company where what most of these companies you probably know are doing a lot of merger and acquisitions.
Yep.
So they're taking applications. Again, I've been on the application forefront and
Yep.
deployment of operating systems, if you will, and engineering that using SCCM.
Cool.
But what I've been doing recently for the past 2 years is just making sure that the applications that they're migrating from one environment or domain to another domain will work. And if it's not, again, I'm the quality assurance bulldog I've been called lately
Cool.
to make sure that those get passed, and then we can migrate the users. When you're looking at 100,000 users with this organization, they want to make sure that everything's ready, rock and roll, and they're not going to run into any outages or anything like that, or impact business. So that's where again I come into play, and I have many years of quality assurance, many years of SDLC, many years of engineering experience. So again, my forefront is understanding business, understanding that technology is the forefront of what makes business breathe, if you will. It's the lifeline, the bloodline for
Right.
revenue. So that's where I come into play and drive that forward from a project management perspective.
100%. Okay. So, migration tech. Okay. So, with this program, because I know you're going for TPM, let me ask you very quickly then. Do you know SQL? Do you know Python? Do you know cloud?
Yeah, from cloud, I think you're talking about AWS or Azure. I mean, I've taken the classes at Microsoft for Azure, and that was like maybe 5 years ago,
Right.
6 years ago, if you will.
Right.
And then when it comes to SQL, I've had to create reports in SCCM, and figure out how to do the joins and all that stuff to get that data
Yeah.
working. So again, I've got that troubleshooting background that if it doesn't work, I can go online, figure out how to do those joins. What did someone do in SQL before, and follow that sort of default, if you will,
Yeah.
or that template and those examples, and then build upon those examples and get the data that people are seeking. So that's my experience from a SQL perspective.
Okay. And Python
Haven't touched that, unfortunately. No,
and data modeling?
haven't touched that either.
Got it. Okay. So here's where I kind of see this. So you can obviously work with us as a TPM, but like I said before, there's different kinds of TPM. Is like what kind of team would you be working with, leading, right? Whatever you want to call it. Um, if you do want to do it in the data side, you would probably need to learn. Again, I'm not saying you got to learn how to code SQL and do or code Python and code, Python interviews, but you do need to speak language, at least
Right.
on the system design front. It's like, hey, here's how we would use cloud to maybe do this migration or do that or whatever, which means you have to understand the fundamentals. So you do have to learn that.
Right.
Again, it doesn't mean you're going to do it on the job. It just means you have to be able to articulate it as a TPM and how you will lead a team to actually get the product, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Multifaceted, and how would it integrate with one
Yeah.
another? How would it, and the successful integration? Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So if I'm being completely honest, you probably still have to do about 2 months of studying. Whether
Hmm.
that's something you are okay with or not, that's up to you. I know that you said you have a lot of experience. You don't really want to learn a lot. But no, one thing we do here is we personalize everybody's path. And so if you're telling me you have 30 plus years of experience, then like, yeah, we're not going to make you, sit there and learn Python for the next 3 months. It's a waste of your time, and we can leverage your experience to get you to where you want to go faster. Does that make sense?
It does. One of the things that's been, again, piquing my mind, again, it's been this whole thing of applying on Indeed or looking for jobs on LinkedIn, and it's been a crazy market. I'm sure you know that. I'm
Yeah,
sure you're
that's not a
experiencing it.
problem. We'll scale that. Yeah, I have a whole team that can apply to whatever job you want, right? So if
Yep.
you want TPM, we'll apply to a bunch of jobs because it's a numbers game right now, right? That's kind of how the market is, right?
Hmm.
So we apply to
Well,
100. Hey, Harsh, can you turn off the mic for a sec? But if you apply to 100, you'll get 1 to 2 interviews. And so, let us just go out and apply to 10, 1,000, get you 20
yep.
interviews. We'll prep in the meantime for how to pass it. So that way you're not wasting your time there.
Based on my 30 plus years of experience, and I know you offer, I guess, the diamond package to work directly with you from a coaching perspective. What does
Yeah.
that look like? If I want to go down that road, what I know it's a high price ticket. Just wanted to ask, what does that look like? If that's where I want to start.
So that one, you'll have a one-on-one with me monthly for an hour, once a month for 6 months. But then also when you're doing specific mock interviews, we'll get into it together. So if you're doing a behavioral question, right, instead of you doing it with my team, you and I will do a mock interview.
Yeah.
Because with that one, we might have to morph the BQ mock interview, behavioral question mock interview, into like leadership ones, right?
Mm.
Leadership questions or TPM questions or product questions that are a little bit different than the data engineer behavioral questions, right? So it is a good fit based on you. That package is more for advanced level people, and so it does sound like you fit the bill there.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Thanks. I don't want to monopolize the time. I appreciate your time and answering those
Awesome.
questions. Thank you so much.
Who'd you talk to?
Nathan Spear.
Oh yeah, you got a good one. Yeah, yeah, he'll take
Yeah.
care of you. He knows what he's doing. So reach out to
Yep.
him and you'll be good there. Cool, cool.
Thanks.
Pleasure to meet you, man. All right, who do we got next? Let's see. By the way, for anybody that didn't join, put a one in the chat so that you can uh, put your spot in line. So we got. I don't want to butcher your name, Nor Amin.
I
Uh,
mean, yes. Hi, it's nice to meet you. Thank you
pleasure to
so
meet
much
you,
for
man.
the time. I have one quick question. I recently came across the DEA, and I really like the package that you're offering, the full service, including from the course material all the way to where people land the job. My one question is, as I was going through, I had an interview with Jordan, your agent, and he shared me the content of the syllabus, the data engineering fundamental modules, the content that people usually go through. My question is, as I was going through the content and I was comparing it to my background, I'm a biomedical engineer. I've been using data science tools in my field. I never worked as a data scientist, but my passions and my backgrounds are more aligned with data science rather than data engineering.
Yep.
And I was wondering if there are other course track, if you will, that covers data science more than data engineering.
Yeah, good question. So we do have content in the back end for data science. We don't advertise it because right now I kind of want to just focus on one, right? Entrepreneurs kind of have the curse of like, hey, I want to focus on different things, and then they, burn their business to the ground. So that's a personal decision. Again, I have a data science background as well. I actually learned data science before data engineering, but long story short, we do have content in the back end. What I would want is to get clarity as to which job you want, right? We can give you the content, you can go through it, you can learn, you can ask us questions. That's totally fine. the question is, once we get to the apply stage, which one do you actually want? Do you want like a data analyst job, a BIE job, a DE, or a DS? Like, do you have clarity on that specific question?
Yes. So, comparing the role that the data engineer versus data scientist would play. I had a bunch of conversation with my friends who work in different roles in Amazon, Microsoft, and other places. So I got a kind of sense of what it includes to work as a data scientist versus data engineer. And my passions and backgrounds are more aligned with the data science rather than data engineering. Yeah.
So here's what I'll say, because again, we got to separate the coursework from you getting the job, right? You can go online and you can find other people selling a $2, $3, $4,000 data science course package. One of my mentors actually created it. That's how I got into this business. That's a side note, though. You can also do that with a $10 Coursera course, right? That's not why people come to us, right? People come to us because they want the job, right? The thing is, and again, this is how I feel. I could be wrong. If you are a full transitioner, right? Because you said you have you're in biomedical engineering, right?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. I would think it's unethical if someone is telling you there's a high chance you can get a job. That's just my opinion. I can be proven wrong with data, but again, chances you can get a job as a data scientist from a full transitioner are much lower. Have I seen it happen? Yes. Am I willing to put resources behind it? Because remember, if we apply to applications for you, I have to pay those people, right? That might take a long time to get you a job. So I don't love to advertise it for that reason. I think you have a much better chance of getting a job as a data engineer. Or to be honest, this is one route you can go into if you're open to it, right? Because again, I want to set expectations. Be okay with getting maybe a data analyst or a BIE job. I think that's a wonderful route for you. Because if you get that, then you could become a data engineer or data scientist like 1 to 2 years into your career. So imagine you get a data analyst job at Amazon. You're gonna have the opportunity to work as a data scientist and data engineer projects while you're also getting paid. That's the best situation, man. Especially for you as a full transitioner, that's the approach I would have for you. Because I'm telling you, right now, companies are gonna want to hire data scientists who have like a PhD. It's so much harder. Does that make sense?
I see. So regardless of the experience that we had in the field, the type of background matters. What you're saying is that matters a lot when it comes to.
Well, I'm personalizing this advice to you, right? Because
I see.
You're saying you're a full transitioner, correct?
Right. That's right.
Right. And so I think if anybody out there is telling you like, hey, you have no background, you can get into data science, I'm like, nope, that's BS. Like we do it all the time for data engineer, but for data science, nope, 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 nope. I want to see the stat on that. I have no faith in that. Now, again, if somebody's selling you a course, that's fine, right? Because they're saying like, hey, you're doing this to learn. But I can't confidently say we can get you a data scientist job. Again, we've seen it happen. We've done it. It's just a much lower chance, right? Because those guys are going for people with PhD or background. So if I were you, I would, if you decide to take the program, I would learn the data engineering stuff. I would learn the data science stuff. We can give you the background. And I would learn the data analyst and BIE job. And then when we start to apply for you, we can apply to all three, right? But I want you to have the expectation that you'll probably get more interviews for data engineering and definitely for BIE and DA. And if you get a BIE and DA job, I think that's a wonderful first step, right? And by the way, like one question I like to ask, because I understand compensation matters, you can write privately DM me in the Zoom chat, like, what are you making? What are you trying to make, right? Because again, I know the biomedical engineering space, right? You're capped, right? So I understand your problem. I understand your dilemma. So I think you're better off going into DA, BIE role and then growing from there, which we can also help you. Like we work with people for years at a time, So does that make sense?
Thank you for sharing your perspective. Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it. Cool. All right, next up, what do we got? You're muted, my friend. You're muted, my friend.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right. I was recently talking to Dan and Dana, and she wanted me to talk to you and ask a couple of questions of mine that I have. You see, my biggest problem is I have this some kind of fear and doubt. I got doubt and all of that. This is going to be the best option for me with what I want to do. But my question for you today is, what would you say is your data, like statistics, with respect to your success rate in this, and what would you give me as a way of saying reason why people did not succeed after engaging your services?
Yeah, so I need a little more context here. When you say doubt, do you mean doubting me or doubting yourself? Doubting the company or doubting yourself?
Not necessarily doubting you. I think one of the reasons why I'm talking to you today is out there in the market, one, you happen to be one of the people who sold this idea to me more better than any other person that um, any other person there in the market. And I've talked to a lot of them. I think you look a lot more legit, but the doubt is in, I know I'm not going to be working with you one on one. I'm definitely going to be working with someone else. I've heard you talk about all of this stuff to people. I don't know what you got in your team, but
Yeah.
my thing is, I know my own, there's going to be a part that I have to play in this, but I want to get from you what you think would be a reason why I wouldn't succeed in this.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And the reason I ask is because let me give you this analogy. If you hire Arnold Schwarzenegger, not that I'm saying that I am him, but if you hire Arnold Schwarzenegger to go to the gym and get ripped, right? To get jacked, to get in shape.
Mm,
5 months later, you're not in shape. What do you think happened?
me, I kind of
Yeah.
give up.
And so I get it. A lot of people have fear and doubt, but they kind of mistaken as to where it's coming from, but it's probably you. Because remember, our guarantee is that we work with you until you get a job, right? So the stat that we look at is how many people ghost us, right? How many people, get overwhelmed or have so much doubt that they go away. That number is 20%. I wish it was lower, but that's the reality. So that means we have some improvement to do because we need to make sure that you don't fall off track. Which, by the way, colleges might be, at 5%, but that's because the person is on campus, right? And they're paying a lot more money, right? But that's the number, right? So 80% of people either got the job or they're still working through it, right? Because again, we don't give up on you until you get a job. So the question is, what would have to happen for you to fall in that 20%? You would have to give up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, same thing with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The only way you don't see results if you go to the gym is if you don't listen to the instructions. If you cheat on your diet, if you don't go to the gym, if you ghost Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like if you ghost us as your instructors, of course you're going to fail. We can't help you, right? We give you all the channels. It's up to you to use it. If we have a daily group call, if you don't go to any of them, do you think you're going to get value?
No.
Trust me, if I can go to everybody's house and be like, yo, get your ass up and go to the call, I would. I don't know, I can't. I can't. So it's up to you, man. Again, we'll work with you until you get a job. I don't know anybody else that has, the balls to do that. So it's just up to you to actually take advantage of it. Fair enough?
Fair enough. Yeah, thank you.
Any other question?
None for me.
Cool. Who's next? No one else put a one, so whoever's got something, go ahead and jump in.
I go next. This is Harry. I had a math major, especially in the operational research space.
Sure.
Graduated 20 years back, and but I was very passionate about mathematics. That triggered me to pursue major and other things. And due to financial reasons, I just stepped into mostly on insurance side of it and implementing packaged solutions all across the globe.
Mm-hmm.
Now I am in a junction point, thinking about let's. I mean, I'm not. I mean, honestly, the reason is I'm not being paid what I am worth of, right? Though I'm working hard hours and having a strong degrees and for a well-established institutions, I'm thinking about looking for a quantum leap in my career in terms of
Sure.
salary. Do you suggest DE is going to be a right fit for me? And what is the average salary? Because I mean, I have a strong SQL background. I have a Java background. I have React.js background. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable with coding any damn thing, whatever language you wanted. Even Python also, I'm good at it. So technicality is not a big deal, but I feel at times struggling, especially when a couple of interviews attended, I got the feedback my behavioral things are not very polished. Interviews I'm failing at. So what would you suggest and how I can
Yeah. So I'll answer a few questions there. Number one, what's the average salary? All those kind of questions. I like to say like do your own research because people will just always be skeptical, like, oh, Chris is just saying that. I'm like, just go online, man. Just go to Reddit, ask on Blind. Blind is a good one because it's anonymous and you can see what people are making. So I put the links in the chat.
Okay.
So do your own research there. Again, most out of college we've seen make between 130 to 160, right? So it's there. The opportunity's there. But what I want you to focus on is the exponential growth. So I can share my screen real quick and show you that. In terms of your other question, you said, would it be a good fit? Is that the other question you asked?
Yeah, would it be a good fit? Number one, and then number two is how I can fill the gap mostly on the behavioral side of it.
Who did you speak to already?
I mean, from your academy or
Yes, from my company.
which is-
Yep.
I think I forgot it. Diana, I guess. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So from the skill gap part, right? It's pretty simple, right? If you don't know SQL, you got to learn SQL, for example, right? From a behavioral question standpoint, we will try to leverage your experience to put it into BQs. If not, we will give you the experience so that you can leverage it in your BQs, right? Does that make sense?
What is the BQs?
Behavioral questions.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. But
That's not my knowledge. I never
no.
thought about there is a behavioral interview kind of stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, it's the one that engineers fail the most.
Yeah,
Engineers
I'm a
are
hardcore engineer. Hardcore engineer.
engineers are the worst communicators, the biggest introverts, and the people that are, least concise. Let's put it that way. It is shocking, but it is, they
I'm the
focus
message
on
on the
coding
board.
for 3 months to try to do Python, and then they can't. Because remember, how do you get hired? You get hired by interviewing, right? And so I say this all the time: getting the job is just marketing and sales. Resume is your marketing, interview skills is your sales. So the person's gotta like you to hire you, and so it matters, right? It matters whether if you do 6 rounds, 2, 3 of them are going to be behavioral question. Think about that. That's 33 to 50% of the rounds are behavioral questions, right? And then they do one Python round, and yet everybody puts 80% of their effort in Python. So again, would it be a good fit for you? I mean, I don't know you, right? So I don't know how to answer that, right? If you like math, then my guess is yes. By the way, no, I was a math major. I went in as a pre-med, and 4 semesters later, I was like, nope, my report card is going down the drain. So I switched to math. So if you're telling me you like math, you're a hardcore engineer, my guess is yeah, you would like data engineering. But again, don't listen to me, man. I'm biased. So you know, take it where you will. But I will show you this real quick because I think this is something. Again, do your own research. If you go to Amazon, go to data scientists. By the way, this is how early we are in the data engineering game because there's not even data engineers in levels, right? There's kind of it, but not really. But anyways, the compensation is comparable, right? So somebody out of college, which is a DS1 L4, is making about 170 total compensation total because everybody's focused on salary. They forget these other ways that you can earn money. Here's the crazy part: when you actually look at the chart, right? L4 is somebody with 2 years experience, with 0 to 2 years. L5 is somebody between like 2 and 5. Look at how much it grows, right? You can make with 290,000 total a couple years later. Now, again, am I saying you're going to make it for sure? No. Again, back to Kinsley's question. If you have the opportunity, but you don't show up to the gym, are you going to make 300 grand a year? Nope. I'm betting against you. I'm betting against you. If you don't put in the work, I'm betting against you. Sorry. Right? We have to take a level of ownership here because everybody's like, hey, if I pay to do this program, am I going to get it? I'm like, well, I don't know. It depends on you, man. Like the return on investment can be negative. That's the real. Sorry. So, but anyway, what I want to show you is look at this blue bar, right? Look at the blue bar. The blue bar goes up exponentially. The green bar, which is the salary, kind of stays a little flat, right? This is somebody with 5 years experience, somebody with 10, etc. But the blue bar is how you get stock. And when you get stock, your compensation goes up dramatically, right? Maybe Rich might have stock, and so he's making that much, but most people are stuck, whether you're biomechanical or wherever you are, Vari, because they don't get stock. But when you get that stock, I have a friend working at NVIDIA. He's making $1 million a year right now. If you look up NVIDIA stock, you guys know what that's doing, right? So I call this concept rowing in the right boat, because if you row in the right boat, the time you're working at the company goes up alongside with your stock. Does that make sense?
It is indeed, yeah.
Perfect. So again, do your own research because again, the skeptics will think I created this website so that the data is there. I'm like, yeah.
What is the L7 and L6 the experience?
It's just levels of years of experience, right? So L6 is somebody with maybe 6 to 10. L5 is someone between 2 and 5, right? So it just depends your seniority, but also like it's when the company promotes you if you've done a good enough job, basically.
Okay.
So that's how I was able to go from like 70 grand to almost 500 grand after like 5 years because I got promoted 2 or 3 times, but the stock that I had also went up, right? So I started at 350. I was making almost above 450 by the time I actually
I'm
got the
struggling
stock.
to make 250 nowadays. Even 200, I'm struggling. To be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. And again, it's, we can talk about, that more, but I know,
Yeah.
there's other people on the call too, but,
Yeah, that's what I feel at times choosing a right path important.
yeah.
Where,
Well, again, you got to row in the right boat because again, most
Mhm.
careers are capped. Most careers don't get equity. And um, even if you are in tech, right, you're working as a data engineer at Bank of America, Bank of America is not going to give you equity. So it doesn't matter. You have your ceiling is capped or it's capped like a 10-20% increase when you get promoted. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's a lot of companies out there where you can make exponential um, more in compensation. Perfect. So awesome. Glad that was helpful. Terrence, what about you, my friend?
So, I actually talked to Taz.
Cool.
So we had a good conversation. So basically, I'm a director responsible for an application team and database administration team.
Cool.
Primarily been a database administrator, so SQL and aspects of getting data in and out of the database is fine. Familiar with most of the major cloud vendors and supporting within those environments as well, Python, SQL. Um, Within our company, well, before I even ask that question, do you have a difference, or do you see a difference between data engineering and ML engineering from
Oh
your
yeah.
company standpoint?
You mean like sorry, when you say from my company standpoint, what do you mean?
Your support of both of those.
Oh yeah, we don't have any ML engineering courses, coaches, if that's what you're asking.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have that. ML engineers is very different.
Okay.
Um, it's cool. I will say that it's cool. I like that stuff. That's how I
Okay.
actually got into the data space. I was like, what the fuck is this? Why do I keep getting
Gotcha.
these ads after I like looked at this one thing, right? So like 10 years ago, I would like go to a website and then get ads about it. I'm like, this can't be a coincidence. Now we know it's
Okay.
not. But anyway, yeah. So why are you asking? What is it that you?
Oh no, because how do you feel about ML engineering versus data science? I mean, I guess you kind of put those in the same bucket from your standpoint.
Not quite. Data
Okay.
science can still be a little more data analytics, BIE. It could be still reporting and
Okay.
using, it could use ML algos to, get their insights. An
Mm-hmm.
ML engineer, though, think about the scale. So I'll give you an
Mm-hmm.
example. When I was working at Amazon, we had to process, I think, probably 10 billion worth of data every day,
Right.
right? So while data scientists might, use their computer to do an analysis with ML, an ML engineer now has to think about the whole infrastructure to be able to process
Correct.
that 10 billion every day. It's the scales are different,
I
even
got
though
you.
the ML models might have some overlap.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No, it 100%. Thank you for that.
Cool, cool.
So, I told him I was talking to Taz, and my situation might be a little different. So, within the company that I'm currently employed with, we have data engineers
Yep.
pushing data from all of the different business units across the world, actually, into a centralized environment. So, we have data engineers. We also have folks that are doing stuff in AI and Gen AI at this time, various maturity levels. And I've had a difficult time getting connected with those teams in a meaningful way where I could say I could transition. Unfortunately, a number of the systems that we support today are slated to be removed from our environment at some point. So I need to decide what my next step is. I would prefer for that to be within the company. Don't
Okay.
know for sure if that will happen. What I did tell Taz is we are merging with a team as we speak. And I believe that they are doing some of this. And because of it being more of a merger and not me just talking to a team to see what they're doing, I may
Right.
have an opportunity, which
Yeah.
is one of the reasons why I wanted to wait. on this, because if I have an opportunity for growth there,
Yeah.
I would rather take care of that instead of,
Of course.
having to do
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. Of course.
So he just suggested that I join the call to ask,
And just to be clear, is
talk.
data engineer the one you want to go down?
Not really, but I understand that it might be my entry point. So I'm willing to do that to get in
So you kind
and
of
then
want to go
evolve.
into the engineering realm and then maybe go data
Correct.
engineering, cloud, ML, whatever.
Right. And grow into some of the other things. Because as you said, just becoming a data scientist and saying that's a huge step. I in the beginning, 4 years ago, my journey kind of started. Haven't been able to do as much because I have a full-time job, and I realized quickly that I almost do need a PhD to compete, right? So I said, okay, I need to move down to more of an applied, where I don't create the models,
Yeah, you need to work your
make
way in,
use
and you
of
could be
them.
if you can be a data engineer and build the infrastructure, that's the
Correct.
closest thing to the person using the infrastructure. Yep, I got it.
Correct.
So,
Absolutely.
so question for you: what you don't have to tell me what company you're working at, but do you guys have an employee training budget?
There may be. I mean, they offer so much training in this space, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for us to go outside of that. So we have like full access to LinkedIn training and others.
Yeah, look into it.
Mm-hmm.
But those courses, that's not really like a huge.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
But yeah, because look into it, because I totally understand your perspective, right? Again, it goes back to the advice I was giving. I forgot who, but it was like, if you can get a job as a data engineer or BIE, right? I think it's, and you can learn there, right? Then that's the best case scenario, because you're getting paid to learn, right? That's the best case scenario.
Correct.
So I understand your perspective. I don't know if it does make sense for you to spend 13 grand, when you can learn in your job. The reason I'm saying is look into the employee training budget is A, because you don't have to pay, right? But B, even if you're getting paid half of it, the problem that we've seen is that when people try to learn from their friends or learn from other teams or learn on the job, there is a level of resistance, right? Like imagine you hitting up your coworker and being like, "Yo, can you help me?" Like,
and I've seen it.
I've seen you're gonna feel bad. They're gonna feel annoyed. Yeah,
correct.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been 4 years of me trying to do that, but not in an unofficial way. Right.
And the thing is, like, you can do it and you will get it done, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It just might take you a year versus if you go through here, it might take you 2 to 3 months, right? So again, you have to kind of value your time. Again, I spend about I buy a $10,000, $20,000 program every month at this point, just like this, because I'm like, I don't care about the money. I just rather learn, because I know that knowledge, either I can go learn and trial and error, and spend a year or two on it, or I can just learn this in a month, right? So my perspective is always like, okay, how much is not having that knowledge costing me, right? Again, if you're okay with waiting a year, I think it's fine. But if you're making, I don't know, 150 right now, and you're trying to make 250, then waiting a year is costing you 100 grand, right? So I think about opportunity costs all the time, because we can always make more money. We can't get time back. But again, I know that not everybody shares that philosophy with me. So.
Understood. So what I told him is I want to see what happens with this new merger that we have.
Yep.
So give me a couple weeks, and then after that, I'll probably make a decision. And like you said, if there's
if I were you, again, I would do both, right? It's like I remember that tells me, he's like, do you want your arm or your leg, man? Do you want your arm or your leg? You probably want both, right? So you're saying like, hey, I'm gonna wait. It's like, well, you can do both, right? You can start talking to your manager today and be like, hey, like, is there an option here? And blah, blah, blah. Start exploring options while also waiting for the merger to happen. There's nothing wrong with doing both, but humans are very extreme. They either go one or the other. But it's like, just try a little bit of both, and see how it goes from there. Make sense?
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my friend. All right, Harsh, we got about 8 minutes left. How can I help, my friend?
Hi. So quickly, if I talk about my background, I'm studying right now data analytics in US, and I used to be a mechanical engineer, but I shifted to IT. I used to do statistical programming work for a company called Senios, where I've done like basic SAS programming that you would know, that we work on the pharma companies. Yeah, and I'm like, after studying here, I'm really inclined into the data engineering side, where last semester I have done the AWS Cloud Practitioner certification, and I'm inclined to do more. So my question is, considering my knowledge, which is like zero to nothing right now, and uh, based on the gap that I need to fill and learn everything, and if we go to the realistic timeline, how much time it will take for me to get the job and everything. What do
How
you
many
think?
hours per day would you put in?
Let's say, as you said, like going to the gym, showing up, and do everything as needed. Let's say 4 hours, 5 hours.
A day? 4 to 5 hours a day?
Yeah. Let's say
And
if I do that.
you know SQL already.
I know SQL, yes.
3 months? I mean, less than 3
3 months.
months to be honest. But here's what I'll say, man.
Hmm.
The reason people end up like not hitting that
Hmm.
3 months is because they again, going back to Kinsley's, that 20%, they go
Hmm.
in with such unrealistic expectations and then they
Hmm.
get discouraged. Like,
Hmm.
I'd rather you start with 30 minutes or an hour a day,
Hmm.
build that
Hmm.
habit, and then
Hmm.
ramp up to 4 hours a day, and you can still hit
Hmm.
3 months, especially if you already know SQL, right? The
Yeah,
reason I'm saying that is because, like, people underestimate how much 5 hours a day is, especially when you're working, you're tired, you
I
travel, you have
understand.
a family, you have a social life. So don't put that expectation on yourself because at the end of the
Hmm.
day, is there any urgency? Like, you're about to get laid off or fired
Uh,
or
no, actually, I'm a student and I'm about to graduate in December. So, like, of course, I still have time. For a year, I can still do that. But yeah, I
I
was
mean,
just
that's
thinking, why
that's
not early?
yeah, that's my best advice for you is
Hmm.
I would start. I'm always a fan of starting
Hmm.
early, but
Hmm.
I'd rather you do 30 minutes an hour a day
Okay.
for the
Hmm.
next 6 months, learn
Hmm.
everything you need to learn, and we can
Hmm.
start applying for you and we'll get the job right after that,
Okay.
right? As
Hmm.
opposed to you saying like I'm gonna do 4 hours a day, go hard. Because then you're gonna drop off and then we might not hear from you for
Yeah,
another year,
I
you know?
understand.
Yeah, because when you said December, I was like, wait, you got 17 days, but if you're saying you have a year,
I mean,
that's
after that year, yeah.
and that's why I designed the program to actually be like, hey, we'll work with you until you get your role,
Hmm.
because I know there's a lot of factors like that.
Hmm.
So I don't want to say,
Hmm.
hey, it's a 3 month program or a 6 month program.
Hmm.
So that
Okay.
way you can actually take your time, and it's probably the best way to go, to be honest.
Okay. So let's say if I, as you suggested, like say 30 minutes a day, and after that I gradually increase. So
Yeah,
that would be like 6 months, right? Something like that, or more take, more or less 1 month, 2 months. Well, I
three
mean,
three to
not too
six
being
months.
strict.
At three to
Hmm.
6 months, if for us to start to apply for you,
Hmm.
because again,
Hmm.
you want to be a data engineer, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so probably 3 to 6 months, right? I was gonna say
Hmm.
less if the goal was data analyst, but
Yeah.
probably 3 to 6 months. But again, it's gonna depend on a lot of things, right? How fast you go through it, your IQ, frankly,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And how much time you put. But yeah, that's my recommendation: is build a habit. I'd rather
Hmm.
you start 30 minutes and then just build it up over time, because you'll be doing a couple hours a day by like
Hmm.
mid-December, like very
Yeah.
very soon.
And I usually do like for a day, like I do like 2 to 3 hours of my coursework and the extra things on top of that. So
Yeah.
that's why I said I'll stretch it.
Yeah, it's like starting to train for a marathon, right? Like
Yeah.
and trust me, I've done that mistake. It's like, okay, I'm running 7 miles today, even though I haven't ran anything in 2 months, and it's like, all right, whoops, now I'm injured. I gotta book an
So
appointment with my doctor. So that's
okay,
what you want to
great.
keep in mind.
Okay, sounds good. And like, what do you suggest? Like, what is the best like hot thing right now going on in the data engineering field that I should be pursuing? Like, let's say something new that upcoming.
I mean, AI is serious.
Yeah.
Now, let me delineate because this is important.
Hmm.
Just because AI is hot, just because
Hmm.
it is here to stay,
Yeah.
it does not mean that's how you get the job. Let
Hmm.
me be very clear. If you do an AI course for the next 3 to 6 months, you're wasting your time. Why? Because we have the data on what data engineer interviews are still about. And we have not seen one question about AI. So you
Got it.
don't get a job because you did a 6 month AI course. Now, again, I'm a fan of learning. Like I said, I spend about 10, probably 30 grand a month on my self education.
Wow.
So nothing wrong with learning about AI specifically. And we will launch a course on this, how to use AI to enhance your data engineering
Hmm.
production, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Again, the
Yep.
simple thing is like, your code broke, put it into ChatGPT and ask it to debug, right? Like that's kind of the simple nuances, but
Hmm.
will be cooler stuff that comes out. I think
Hmm.
it's also still in the progress of coming out. So I just keep an eye there. That's probably the sexiest or hottest new thing.
Sounds good. And one more thing, just
Sure.
wanted to like casually ask you, let's say along the line, after 6 months, uh, or let's say even in a lifetime, there was one, uh, I was given information that uh, if nothing happens to you, you guys give back the money or something like that. So
If
just
we,
wanted to understand how would that work out, just as a like, just wanted to understand. That's why.
yeah, we
Of
start to
course, yeah, sorry.
if we start to apply for you and you don't get a job within 6 months after that, then you'll get the money back. You know,
Okay. But understandably that, that would also be like, in a way that I should be also, in this particular thing very religiously.
what do you mean, like what?
So,
Your word?
like, be in this particular field, like, put my 100% basically,
Oh, of course, you have to put your.
considering that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that is for sure.
Because we get clients all the time that come in here and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna put it to work for 6 months, and then when you start applying, I'm like, great, let's do it. And then like 3 weeks later, they're like, I want my job. Like, can we start applying? And I'm like, if we start applying, you're gonna fail the interviews. It doesn't make sense, right? So
Yeah.
we're not trying to like you know game you or scare you. Like we're trying to work as a partner, right? And build a partnership here. But you got to be reasonable, which is why I say you starting earlier is great because it means we can do the work, teach you the stuff, give you the mock interviews, verify that you would pass the interviews, work on your story, work on your do all the work so that when we do start to apply for you, you'll get the job. And that's why I'm so confident in it because I'm like, if you put in the work and we start to apply for you and you'll get interviews in week 1, week 2, you'll probably get the job. Does that make sense?
Yes, that does. And I'm really
Cool.
intrigued by the information that I've gotten from, actually, I talked to Noor, and like she has given it good information, like where I also got inclined to data engineering more, and even my current project also is kind of related to that. So we are building a pipeline in Postgres, and then like piping it to the Power BI for the dashboard. So
Cool,
that's what we're
cool.
doing right now. So like
That's,
even it's basic stuff, but yeah, I love it.
right. That's how you need to start, right? You need to start with the
Yeah,
easy stuff and grow from there. So, well, cheers, man. Pleasure to meet you.
yeah.
Anyone else have any questions? I know a few of you guys stay. Oh no, Archana. I don't think I got to you.
Hey,
Sorry.
Chris. Yeah, no worries. I hadn't put one because I'm in a meeting and I wasn't sure if I would be able to talk. So,
No
no,
worries.
thank you
How
so
can
much
I
for
help?
doing this, for taking the time to answer everyone's question. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I was just talking to, I think, Artaza yesterday, and I was telling him that my background is in product management and business analysis, and I started with testing. So it's been more than a decade. I was telling him I have no knowledge, like zero, of SQL. I mean, I know a few queries, but that's about it. Nothing Python, like
Sure.
nothing technical.
Full transitioner
Only
starting from zero.
technical. Pardon?
Like full transitioner starting from zero.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
So first of all, I'm not sure. I was not sure whether I should go from product management to data. Since I don't have any background, then he was saying you could do something like, product analyst or something like that, which I have been researching, which actually seems very interesting because, you would be doing more of analysis on product instead of building roadmaps and writing user stories. So just wanted to kind of hear what you had to say about all of this.
About whether you should go into a data analyst position.
Yeah, about product and transitioning to data, and how I could transition. I mean, do product people actually just leave that and go into data engineering, and are they successful? Just anything you have to say, because I just started exploring this literally yesterday.
Yeah.
So.
So let me frame it this way. I guess the question is, are you asking, should you do it? Or are you asking, is it possible?
Yeah, I guess the second one, is it possible? Is it
So
recommended?
here's the frame I would use. If other people have done it, then is it possible?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Right. If
it's
other
like when
people
someone
have done
says,
it,
"Oh,
means it's possible.
yeah," it's like when someone says, "Oh, there's no way I can build a big business." It's like, well, other people have done it, so it is physically
Mm-hmm.
possible, right? Like on gravity and science based, right? Like it is possible, correct?
Right.
So the question, so when I hear that,
Yeah.
what it tells me is now you're asking, okay, can I do it? Right? That's really the question that's coming out. Maybe can I do it? And the other question
Right.
is it worth it? Right? So
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes,
again,
exactly.
I don't know what you're making. I don't know what you want your day to day to look like, but have you determined that it's worth it from that perspective?
I'm not sure because I like product. It's just I feel
Right.
like um, I'm not doing anything concrete. I'm not developing in any way concrete or technical.
I gotcha.
So
So can I make a
yeah, that's why I was
recommendation?
exploring this.
Yeah,
Sure, absolutely.
we have a $2,500 package. It's on the website. I can put the link in the chat. I would rather you start there because here's the thing. It's not my job to convince you to do something that you are not sure you want to do. Right? Like
Mhm.
it's not my job to sit here and be like, data engineering is great. It's like the reality is it's not great for some people. Some people might hate it, right? It's like me trying to convince you to be a math major when you hate math. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. What I would rather have you do is go to the $2,500 package, see if you like it, start learning SQL, start working Python, work with our coaches, go to the group calls, get into our community, right? And if you find out that, okay, I like this, you can always upgrade later and we'll give you discounts based on what you already paid. I just think that's a much better approach than you putting
Mm.
on this pressure of like, I'm going to pay 15 grand right now, right?
Right.
There's no reason for you to do it. And by the way, you can also just do YouTube or Coursera, etc., right? For $10 or free or whatever. If you want to work with coaches and ask questions, you can go this route, right?
Mm.
You can put it on a firm and it's like $50 a month or something, right? Um, but I would avoid extremes. I wouldn't say either I'm not pursuing it, it's zero, or I'm going all in, I'm throwing in 50 grand, right? I would try to find somewhere in the middle and try to work your way up to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's actually a great suggestion. I really like that.
Yeah.
So question after that, what's the difference between this and the full package?
So
Of
the $2,500 one, you'd be going through it kind of self-paced, but then you would have access to us in Slack, in the group community, go to the group calls, etc. As you upgrade, you
Mhm.
start getting more one-on-one time, right? So, for example, doing mock interviews, doing one-on-one sessions, right? Um, so actually preparing you for the getting the job aspect of it, and then of course the process of actually us applying for you, right? Because I need to pay a whole team to do that. That's
Mhm.
included in the upgrade as well. So basically, it's just more, instead of just
Right.
learning, it's more career services / more one-on-one time. Does that make sense?
Right, right. So there were three points. One was, the customized learning. Second was resume. Third was job search. So I guess it would be one, like something out of the uh, number one, not completely number one, but I guess,
Exactly.
and
You
not
get to go.
number two and number three.
Yeah, exactly. You get to go through the content and kind of on your own. But again, you can always ask in the Slack channels, like, by the way, like, is it cool if I start here? And our coaches can respond and Slack can help you out and make sure you're not, steering too much into the wild. Because the biggest problem with you going online and looking up what to do next is you just get overwhelmed, right? Whether it's Google, Stack Overflow, Reddit, whatever the case is, it's like, okay, there's a ton of stuff here, there's a ton of people telling you to do a ton of different things, and it's like, okay, but you know,
No, no, that doesn't work for me. I have tried that. It's too overwhelming for me. I
you
need some
you and
structure.
100, yeah, you and 100,000 other people we've talked to, so don't
Yeah.
worry, we get it.
Oh, awesome. The last question, if you have
Sure,
time.
sure.
Um, is this also because I know in full package they're going to kind of look at, where I am, where I want to be, where are the gaps, and make
Yeah,
like a customized coursework for me.
sure.
Does this also do that?
So because you're a full transitioner, it's pretty easy. And I could just tell you right now, just start with SQL and Python. You got to learn that. And so again, we
Right.
will be talking via
Right.
Slack, right? My team will take care of you via Slack. And so if you have any questions specifically once you get into those parts, we can help you. And then obviously go to the group
Mhm.
calls, right? Where we will answer questions just like this. Um, but yeah, your personalized plan won't be too, intricate or complicated because you're basically full transitioning.
Yeah, because I have to start. Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
That's why I'd rather you just do this package and don't overwhelm yourself with a big decision, basically. The worst thing you can do is do nothing, by the way. That's something people do
It's
for years, and they don't realize how costly.
right.
Again, right? If you're making 50 and you think you can make 100, waiting 2 years is $100,000 decision, right? So
Right.
that's the costliest thing you can do.
Exactly, exactly. I'm sorry, I have one more question. I promise last one.
Yep, no worries. No worries.
What do you think about this product analyst role? Do you think?
It's just a data analyst role. It's a
Mhm.
data analyst. You're focused on a specific product. So it's good. It's fine. But again, what I'd rather you do is you learn the foundation so that you can go in different directions. So if you learn SQL and Python, for example, you can do a marketing analyst role. You can do a product analyst role. You can do whatever, right? So
Right.
learning the foundations is the best. It's like saying like, hey, like, should I be a first base or a shortstop in baseball? It's like, well, first off, you gotta learn how to catch a ball, and then you gotta learn how to bat, right? So that's what you should be focused on first.
Yeah, that's what I meant. After I have the basics and after you think I'm ready, and
Product could be good
do
for
you
you, yeah.
think we could?
Based on your background, product could be good for you,
Okay.
100%, 100%. But you
Okay.
don't want to limit yourself. I used to work at Lyft, where we used to work on Lyft Pink, so it was a subscription business, and so because I came from the subscription world, the first iteration of this program was me trying to build a subscription business, right? And because it's what I knew. And in reality, it's just not what people wanted, right? They want a one-on-one help. They want an actual, face-to-face. And
Right.
so I don't want you to limit yourself because there's a lot of routes you can go. But again, your background could help for sure.
Yeah, no, that makes so much sense. Thank you for that. Yeah, learn the basics
Absolutely.
and then keep myself open.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
perfect, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, that was actually really good. Thank you.
Thank you. Rich, I know you had another one.
Yeah, real quick. One of the things I've been hearing on this call today, and Nathan touched upon it, but I wanted to ask you, and he said it would be possible. I've been hearing a lot of people would like to go full time. If I wanted to go more on a corp to corp or 1099 or a contract, is that something you would be able to help me with if I wanted to do like a consultative sort of realm?
Yes, we can help you with that. There's a lot of channels, whether we work through one of our recruiters or you go through like, Upwork or whatever, right? Because there's like, job boards and stuff like that.
Right.
The one thing I will say is there is a cap to how much you can earn because I think you're gunning for a lot, right? You're gunning for,
Yeah.
I don't want to say the number, but it's, multiple hundreds. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing I would be do your research on that because the problem is, like I was sharing my screen earlier,
Yeah.
the equity you get is going to be a big portion. And the growth of the equity, the growth of the stocks, right?
Right.
If I was making 450 at Lyft, 55, maybe 65% was equity, right? So it was a big portion, right? Because it grows. So you would be kind of limiting yourself. Now, again, I've seen companies stock. I've seen company give bonuses to contractors, right? So I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying it might be a little harder. Again, you could do it. You have the background, but I don't want to sit here and say, it'll be a piece of cake.
Right. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, and that's the role. That's the path I'd be taking is to be going more towards a consultative 1099 or corp to corp rather than full time.
Are you trying to job stack?
What was that?
Are you trying to job stack?
Like work for 3 different clients at the same time? I don't look at it stacking. I just look at it as consulting. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. I mean, we know people making close to 500 grand with 2 or 3 jobs, and
Yeah. Again,
doing well,
I'm
so it's possible.
yeah, I think you see it, man. I'm a high performer, always have been, and
Yeah,
I'd rather work with 3 different clients at the same time than work
no,
with one. And as I shared with Nathan, is that I just don't like getting my knees cut off when someone lets me go, and then I'm out and about, and I got to hustle really bad. I was out of work for about 4 months during this year, and it's not a fun feeling. And I've been in 8, 9, 10 layoffs in my lifetime, so not a good feeling. And that's why I'm staying out and rather do that kind of consulting from 3 clients at the same time. If one goes away, I still got 2.
Exactly. And if you can handle it, then fuck it, right? Because again, it was the same thing with when I was at Lyft. It was I was able to do the job at 80% of my capacity or
Yeah.
70% capacity, and I was able to do 100%.
And that's what I'm
of the
doing
job.
right now. They want me here 40 hours a week at this current client. I'm lucky if I'm putting in 10 or 15.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
But they're
Exactly.
again, they want
If
me,
you're
they want me,
efficient and
they
can
want
get
me
it done,
hourly,
then
right? I mean, that's what
yeah.
happens. I want to, again, you've heard this before. I want to get paid for my value-based pricing. And that's where I would need
Yep.
to help from a negotiation or how to get in front of those people who are willing to pay that rather than pay me for my hours. You know,
Yep.
they want
Yep.
the results. I'll get the results and I'll get the deliverables, but I want to get paid for the results, not paid for the hours to
Yep,
be
exactly.
at
Don't
the
get paid
desk.
hourly. Just get a paycheck every month, whatever the same is. And you can do it faster. You can do it faster. The problem with hourly, by the way, is a lot of companies are starting to do like screen recording. So it's even less popular, right? If they can record your screen and be like, okay, he's billing us for 20, but the screen says 10.
Right.
So yeah, you really don't want to do hourly.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And lastly, again, I thank you for your time. I know you went to BC, and I when I saw that, I'm here in the Boston area myself. My father-in-law owned the food bars on the Boston area. One of them was Mary Ann's down the street from
Oh,
BC.
no
So I
way.
told that to Nathan last night. I just wanted to get a smile on your face like you are,
Oh, no
and see if
way,
you
dude.
went there many times when you were at BC, which I'm sure you did. So, but
He
yeah.
sold it, right? Did he sell it? Shut it
You
down?
got it, man. You're right. He sold it in 2019. He didn't want to sell. He was doing it for 42 years. He owned Mary Ann's, Beacon Hill Pub, all those dive
Oh,
bars in the
man.
Boston area, man. Yeah, he sold them in
Yeah, because
2019.
I had my reunion a couple of years ago at this point, and we went there, and it was like, holy shit, it's shut down. But it's
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that definitely is a smile. I had a lot of crazy nights there. I might have gotten kicked out on my 21st birthday. You know, it's but it's the 21st, so you know.
It's a dive bar. You know, when in Rome,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. If he has security footage and finds somebody getting kicked out about 10 years ago, let me know.
It's all in the past. Again, when they
Oh,
sold it, when
thank
they
God.
sold everything was pretty much gone at this point. He unfortunately passed away about 2 years ago. So
Uh,
all those guys that own those dive bars are all passed away. Unfortunately, he was one of the
wow.
last. So yeah, it's just craziness. But again, he's the one that was going around to all those bars. He was the guy who was going up to like 2 o'clock in the morning because they were all cash.
Right, right,
So
right, right.
so,
Get
but
the
he
flex,
loved
yeah.
it, man. He totally loved it. But I just wanted to see if you've been there, and which I
Of
knew you would be. Yeah,
course,
I
of
know, man.
course.
I
A
know.
little bit, probably a little bit too much during that time in my life. But hey, it's college, right?
You
So,
got it. But thanks for your time today. Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks, my friend.
pleasure, guys. Take it easy, guys. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.